The booze is good.
The booze is good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Disney World.
Disney World.
Good morning, friends. It is, well, frankly, it's too damn early, but a little after 4, and we're getting ready to head to the airport. I've never recorded a vlog this early in the day. As you can tell, I'm pretty tired. I slept like all of 10 minutes last night, so hooray. But yeah, let's get this party started. We'll talk soon. Good morning. What are you doing? You don't like this? You don't want us to go? Or what? What? You don't want me to go? Are you so excited?
Yes.
Right. So excited. Boarding the airplane was relatively simple. I have A-list, so I was able to save us a couple of rows right across from each other. We decided to split up and put 2 adults with each of the kids. That ended up serving us pretty well. We were worried about the youngest because she has issues with her ears as it is, and, you know, it's not always easy for youngsters to pop their ears when they're flying. And also, she's known for having pretty significant meltdowns when she's not having a good time, as 3-year-olds tend to do. But surprisingly, and to our relief, she was very well behaved, and she ended up enjoying the flying process of the trip. We did frame it as though that was sort of like the first ride of the trip or whatever, and she bought into it for the most part. And in the meantime, we kept her busy with different things to color and play with as we went through the flying process. We had a layover in Houston, and so we decided that was a good time to get some food. And in our terminal, there was one sit-down place where we could go and take our masks off and get some brunch. I decided it was time for a Bloody Mary. Carlos got a mimosa. Everybody else, I think, got regular drinks, along with all of us getting breakfast sandwiches and those kinds of things. And of course, we did have a connecting flight, and it's always cool to see Orlando come into view on a clear day through your airplane window. And the second flight was the longer of the 2 flights, although not by much. Then we landed in Orlando, an airport that I'm all too familiar with. And of course, we were greeted by the 50th anniversary decor and stuff they have throughout the airport that I've seen a few times already. And that, of course, added to the magic. Then we went down to the baggage claim to get our boatload of baggage and made our way over to the Mears shuttle. One thing I will say is that Mears Connect is not clearly marked in the airport yet. I think they will add more signage in the future, but they had only been operating as Mears Connect for about 3 weeks at this point, and they set up shop where Disney's Magical Express used to be, which is what was expected. Luckily, I knew where to find that because I think for someone coming in for the first time, it's not entirely obvious where you need to go, and without signage, of course, that's even worse. The actual process of getting on the motor coach was really simple. They even had like mobile kiosks to check yourself in, and then we walked right onto the bus. There was actually no wait at all. It was also pretty obvious that these used to be the Magical Express buses because while they did update the paint job and all that stuff, it's still the same color scheme, and you can actually see some of the residue from where the old overlay used to be. Some of the buses have had that Magical Express wrap for years and years, but I definitely recommend the Mears shuttle for simplicity. You can also Uber, and there are a couple of other shuttle options that I'm planning to try in the future, but for now, Mears Connect is my go-to. The bus arrived on Disney property pretty quickly, and Art of Animation was the first stop, which worked out really well for us. And upon getting there, we went into the lobby to look around for a little bit, but half the family was already there, so we made our way over to our room since mobile check-in said it was available already. We ended up with 2 Cars family suites, and it was cool because they put us right across the hall from each other. Their room had a slightly better view than ours, but you know, it worked out nicely. I also think the Cars area is one of the nicest themed areas at the resort. The other areas look great too. too, but there's just something about the way they did the pathing and the overall landscaping and stuff in that area that I think looks so authentic to the film, which is saying something because it is a cartoon, obviously. We were put in the far back building, which actually ended up not being that bad because we had direct access to the Cars pool, and if you're in a family suite at Art of Animation, you're never really too far from the main area anyway. The rooms themselves are really nicely themed as well. They are a little bit smaller than I was expecting. I don't know, like in pictures they just looked more spacious. I think especially being that we had the rooms at max capacity, they hold 6, and we had 6 in one and 6 plus an infant in the other, so it ended up being pretty tight. In the future, if we're with this same group again, we'll probably do 3 standard rooms at like Pop Century or something. It would have actually come out to cheaper that way, and I think we would have had just a little bit more space. Initially, we were wanting like the kitchenette area and stuff, but we ended up not really using that anyway, so unless we end up in one of the DVC villas or suites, I think standard rooms are the way to go for us. But yeah, so from there, the first thing we decided to do as a group was to go check out the big blue pool.
And the booze is good. Cheers.
Disney World.
Disney World
2022.
At one point, I snapped this picture of me and my nephew Shane. He was the eldest of the 6 we had with us, and he was definitely the most behaved. I don't get to see him very often because we live in 2 different states, but it was nice to get to hang out with him for a few days, especially since the last time I saw him, he was like 4 years old, so he was much easier to talk to and showed off a lot of his personality, and yeah, it was great seeing him and the rest of the bunch. From there, we just kind of hung out at the resort. It got a little cold outside at the pool, so we came inside to look around in the gift shop, and we bought dinner and stuff. When we travel, we tend to get there kind of late in the day, so it doesn't make sense for us to have tickets for our arrival and departure days. But in retrospect, I could have gotten tickets for my brother and his side of the family since they were there so early. And since I have an annual pass, I can go like essentially whenever I want to. But really it was fine since there's a lot to do at Art of Animation, and so spending the first evening exploring and getting to know where you're staying is always a good thing. Art of Animation's Animation Hall and the quick service landscape of flavors, cafeteria style restaurant are themed really nicely to several Disney animated classics. That's one of the good things about this resort is if you want Disney theming, this is the place to stay. A lot of the other resorts, especially the fancier ones, lose some of that Disney theming in favor of like a more subtle vibe, but especially for families, this place is perfect. And I love how it's more than just the films themselves, it's the actual process of animating them. So being that the Art of Animation is the heart and soul of classic Disney, that's kind of a good way to go about it, I think. Well, hello there, friends. So we made it. We're here. It's time for bed. We hung out at the pool a little bit this evening. It was a little bit chilly. Water felt great, but it was cold. And then we got some food, had some drinks, just kind of hung out. And then, yeah, got an early day of Magic Kingdom tomorrow. So, and sorry for the noise in here. This fan up here turns on automatically for some reason, so yay. You can see I look real tired tonight, so yeah, I need some sleep. I got like almost none the entire, last night and day and whatever. I got about an hour and a half on our last flight, so yeah, I'm ready for some sleep. But I want to thank you all for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. We'll talk soon, and y'all have a good night.